Hey kid, what you doing watching this stupid film? Don't you want to have fun playing Sega?
Sega? Sega who?
Wrong answer, pal. Show him.
You fucking...
When you think of the blue blur, what games come to mind? You're probably thinking Generations or Unleashed, maybe even Sonic 2 or 3. What about Adventure 1 and 2? These are all amazing, fast-paced action platformers, with Sonic 3 probably being my favorite out of the entire franchise. But what about the games that aren't so fondly remembered, like Sonic 06 or Shadow the Hedgehog? Or if you dig even deeper, games like Sonic Jam on the Gamescom. I think I just had 4 separate strokes. But these games are nothing like the one I'll be talking about today. At least with 06, people can see some sort of potential with it, but with this game, I always see people get really pissed off when you bring it up for some reason, despite the fact it's honestly not a terrible game. Sure, it's not amazing either, but compared to stuff like Boom and Sonic on the Leapfrog Didge, this is a work of art. And what game am I talking about, you might be asking? Well, that game is Sonic Forces. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Although people call this game garbage, I do kind of enjoy it. Internet, please don't kill me. When I got this game, I was stoked to play it, so I popped it into my Xbox and gave it a try. I couldn't put it down, but also I was 12. I beat the game in one day. It took me 3 hours. I was 12. Yeah, I think you can tell that I've always been a Sonic fan, with my first Sonic game being Sonic Rush on the DS. As a kid, I was never able to get past the first half of the game, but a few months ago, I gave it another go, and I can wholeheartedly say that Rush is an absolute banger with an amazing soundtrack and an amazing gameplay style that started the boost gameplay we know and kinda love today. Later on in life, though, I kinda had an edgy phase where I only ever wanted to play cool kid games like Assassin's Creed and Lego Batman 3. During those days, I found myself not really playing Sonic, but then after getting Forces, I found myself going back and realizing, hey, this is kind of cool, and now I have a problem. Yeah, I guess you can say I have a soft spot for Sonic, and even if the game isn't well received, I still try to defend it. I can think like hell, 06 has good level design that was just bogged down by how rushed and broken the game was. Same with Shadow the Hedgehog. I really like playing the game straight through instead of doing all those shitty side missions, because if you do it, it just feels like a less polished Sonic adventure with guns. So I think you can see where I'm coming from when I say Sonic Forces, while not great, isn't a shitty game like I hear a lot of people say. It's just very middle of the road and lacks the ambition it seems to be going for. These points may seem a little bit weird, but just hear me out. I'm gonna go more into detail and explain why I think Sonic Forces is better than what people make it out to be. The game starts with a super bland title screen and then the first cutscene where Eggman is talking about how much he hates Sonic and now he has a new plan to take him down. We then get thrown into the first stage, which is of course Green Hill. But it's got sand, so that makes it original, okay? Am I crazy, or are the physics just off. Like, don't get me wrong, besides the adventure games in 2D Sonic, he's just never felt precise. But here, he just feels super sluggish in 3D, which is a far cry from how he is in Generations with his car-like handling. Or hell, even Lost World felt more controllable than this. Turning feels like you're just suggesting Sonic and not making him turn, if that makes any sense. In 2D, it's fine, but I don't get why they didn't go with something like the physics of colors. In that game, while not amazing or anything, he feels somewhat nimble and fast. Both games still kind of have an issue with making his speed build up though, but in colors, it's not really as bad as this. Sonic just does a light jog and then zoom, he's fast all of a sudden. It's just super janky to me. The beginning introduces you to the main mechanics of the game, aka your jump, stomp, and of course, the boost, which seems to be the developer's favorite mechanic in the entire game since it's literally all you ever do half the time in the normal Sonic stages. After the opening, we see that everyone is in danger and Sonic comes in to save them. As he approaches Eggman, he pulls out his massive, whopping masterpiece. Somehow a bunch of characters are back, including my favorite character, Chaos. I can't wait to see how his boss fight is. Infinite approaches Sonic and just completely dodges him like the absolute unit he is, and then kicks Sonic's ass. Flash forward a few months later, and Sonic is supposedly fucking dead?
Sonic is gone.
But don't worry, a new recruit is joining, and that recruit is a furry OC you make. No jokes though, prop to Sonic Team because the character customization, while simple, is actually really good. Gives me Nintendo Mii vibes with how basic but effective it is. Just not as good to me, but at least it's a welcome addition. This is my OC. Wolf the Wolf, from the gameplay footage that isn't mine. Credits to Louise Gamer Royale. I should probably buy a capture card. So the recruit gets introduced and now we get to play a stage as him. Also, Sonic is alive now. They've been torturing him for months. What? The custom character stages I actually kind of like, but they still just feel magnetic if I'm being honest. This game is really lacking in gameplay, but at the same time, I can't help but say I'm having fun. These characters use wisps for some reason, and their abilities give you each different things, like Sonic colors, I guess. This one that you start off with gives you the ability to shoot fireballs towards enemies, and if you collect a wisp with it, you can do a bunch of jumps. There's nothing remarkable in my full honest opinion. Why does this game have quick time events? These kind of suck and you can literally fuck them up and still pass. Tails is now scared despite being the type of kid to use a mech against Eggman and also help out in Sonic Adventure 1. What makes it even more funny is that he's scared of Chaos. They already beat Chaos. Anyways, there's a random portal and now there's Classic Sonic. Hooray! I'm so happy. You're kidding me, right? Like, I get Sonic games have never been that consistent, but it makes absolutely no sense to just say he's from another dimension. How hard is it to say, oh, that's Sonic from the past? This game is making me feel only pain. This is the first classic Sonic level, and I just want to say, how did they mess up this badly? It's like they took classic Sonic from Generations and tied rocks to his feet. He feels super heavy and unresponsive. Like, Generation Sonic wasn't amazing, but for this to come out only a few months after Mania is kind of embarrassing, don't you think? I won't get in too much into detail, but Classic Sonic just feels shoehorned into the script because he has the least amount of levels in the game. Anyways, that level sucked, and now we get a flashback of the custom character. Then holy shit, Sonic is being banished and Eggman remade the Death Egg. Yay. So bam, another Avatar stage later and Sonic is free. Oh yeah, I should also acknowledge I hate how he acts in this because he just doesn't stop talking. Like, I get he's supposed to be like that, but in here, they just go way too far with it, okay? This boss doesn't have you using speed or doing anything too ambitious. Just dodge Zavok until you beat him. I actually really like the bosses in this game. Sure, the gameplay in most of them is just what Colors bosses were, but hell, I love those too as well, and I do hear it also. Yeah, so after kicking the shit out of Zavok, we get to the Egg Gate, which to me is my favorite level in the game due to it having the most gameplay out of the majority of stages. At the end of the stage 2, you also get a rail grinding scene that actually looks really nice, despite the game lacking in setting variety. The scenery here, it's actually really nice looking and has a lot of care and detail put into it. You can't really say that about the level design though. Sonic escapes in a ship with the OC, and now there's a factory in Green Hill that we have to destroy. This gameplay style has you playing as both Sonic and the OC, with you switching between the both depending on what you do. Oh, also, did I mention double boost? This feature I find pretty underwhelming, as you just mash a button and then a cool scene happens, but the music it plays is just so good here that I can't complain about it.
Yeah, that's how it's done. We've got unstoppable.
This stage just shows how janky it controls, as it has areas like these that just feel awkward to make your way around. Blah, blah, blah. Now we're in Luminous Forest, which is the best setting in the entire game. Fight me. Everything just pops. I love it. Say what you want about the level design, but the Sonic stages just give me a sense of adrenaline and make my brain go numb. I don't get the point of the giant-ass snake, though. Now we're fighting Infinite, and he's okay, I guess. You just pretty much dodge a few attacks on the Lost World-ass snake platform until you defeat him. Then he retreats. Wow, wow, wow! Another classic Sonic stage. Take a listen to the music. It sounds like the composer is shitting.
Still relatively undamaged, but the enemy is here somewhere.
Infinite says something about a prototype and then covers up the fact Sonic kicked his ass, and then classic Sonic comes up and jumps at him. I really like this boss too, as it starts off as a recreation of the first boss in Sonic 1 and then fakes out and then gives you the Egg Dragoon again! The classic Sonic bosses are somehow my favorite ones in the entire game because they actually require you to do stuff instead of just being flashy. They have you throwing rocks back at him, which is incredible. Now that his ass is kicked blah 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 city level, then Casino Forest, which once again is a really pretty looking stage, but it's just bogged down by how bad classic Sonic controls. Oh, also, currently, classic Sonic and Tails are looking for modern Sonic, I think. Sorry, I zoned out. Now, we are on a water slide. The OC finds a piece of the Phantom Ruby, and they for some reason do a really awkward cut of them meeting back up with Sonic at home base, and then Sonic says a reference to Generations that's really poorly delivered.
It's been generations since I seen you.
Yay! Sunset Heights, which to me is a pretty fun stage in the game, and is also where you meet up with Shadow. Sonic stands up to them, and then guess what? The real Shadow comes out and fucking obliterates the fake.
Chaos control!
Now the OC is gonna fight Infinite, but before that, he goes through a trippy Phantom Ruby hallucination. But before that, he goes through a trippy Phantom Ruby hallucination that flips the gravity. Oh no! Now you have to fight him, and if I'm being honest, this fight sucks. Not because the idea is bad, but because the controls don't work with how precise you have to be. Anyways, his ass got kicked again. Also, I forgot to bring up the fact that Eggman has a plan to kill everyone because Eggman's just feeling a little goofy. Yay, a reused level theme and a classic Sonic level that isn't very good. Anyways, time to fight Metal Sonic on a bridge in another stage that is both Sonic and the OC. This boss doesn't have much depth to it, but I still find it fun. After a double boost, you kick his ass by running fast and then turn him into red Lego bricks, I guess? Oh yeah, did I mention the secret levels? Well, they all suck. Anyways, they know how to stop the Phantom Ruby now, okay? Yay, alright, now we're in Green Hill again, and there's a giant enemy crab. Okay. The rookie did a good job being a distraction, I guess, and now Sonic is heading in a chemical plant. This stage here, Network Terminal, I actually really like. Although it does suffer from being too short like every level in this game, I think it has some of the best looking scenery and music in the entire game. Besides Egg Fortress, that one's still pretty good. The automation is still there, but it isn't too bad in my opinion. Kill me, but I like the 2D sections in modern Sonic games. I know they're a little overused, but sue me, I have fun with them. Sonic has now found the computer room. I bet they made Vector hard. Hey look, Team Sonic is winning, which means it's time to destroy the Death Egg as classic Sonic. I hate this level. I just don't find classic Sonic stages fun, okay? They control too odd for my liking. Kaboom! The Death Egg is now destroyed again. Hooray! Eggman is pissed, obviously, and Orbot and Cubot speak. Oh yeah. Did I mention Orbot and Cubot are here? I forgot. Also, Infinite is mad at Eggman because he wants to do a tactical retreat, and Eggman's, like the Eggman he is, throws a fit and tells him to shut up. Okay, so since the Death Egg is gone, it made an opening for them, which means Sonic is gonna run through Metropolis to find him at the Central Tower, and the stage here is once again brain-numbingly easy. It also really shows how much this game it needed the drift, as parts where you're running across a road with sharp turns are an absolute pain in the ass to get past, since you just fly off the edge if you move too fast. Now Eggman sucks Sonic in a null space, which is like purgatory, I think. I don't know if this should have been used more, but the OC tries to save him and gets sucked in too, but with the power of friendship, you know, My Little Pony type shit, they're able to double boost and get out of it. Sonic and the OC go to say hi to Eggman, and he's all like, what? How? What the f? Sonic then calls Eggman friendless, despite the fact that Duet he's been through a lot that gives him a pretty good reason to be the way he is. Now we're in the final act. Time to break into Eggman's fortress and kick his ass. We then get a really cool scene of Sonic and his army fighting off the Phantom Ruby clones. Tails sees the world-destroying sun and then notices the OC has a piece of the Phantom Ruby, so now we're climbing the tower and are going to use it to stop Eggman from winning. After climbing the tower in an okay 2D section with the Avatar, he launches himself up and gets rid of the sun, which means everyone is going in full force. There isn't much to say about these stages other than they're just basic stages inside Eggman Fortress. One is Modern Sonic, and this level has the most 3D in the entire game. Then there's an okay final fight with Infinite where you pretty much just dodge Phantom Ruby particles, then hit him. Then the Avatar comes in, and you defeat him with a few extra hits, then the power of friendship, then that's it for Infinite. Really, this character was so underutilized, as his concept was so good, but then he hardly even seems like a threat at all. Now we climb the tower with Classic Sonic, do another stage with Sonic and the OC, and it's time for the final boss. We find out that Eggman is overclocking the Phantom Ruby as a last resort, and then this fight starts with Classic Sonic. It's a lot like the Egg Dragoon boss, but the floor gets destroyed here. After defeating that part, you gotta dodge his attacks on the destructible floor as an OC. Then, after his center cracks open, out comes a tentacle monster. In this part, you do a colors-ass final boss against it and run on a straight plane and ram into him. It's nothing too difficult, but it's flashy, which works as a final fight in a Sonic game. So, yeah, we defeat him with the power of triple friendship and get a cutscene of the entire Phantom Ruby army going poof, and then Classic Sonic goes poof.
I'm sure we'll run into him again.
Fucking hope not. Sonic then gives a speech about fixing up the world, and that's Sonic Forces. And after, we get a post-credit scene with Sonic saying goodbye to the OC. Then, there's a mini DLC called Episode Shadow that gives you a little bit more insight on what went on before the events of Forces, but it's only a few levels and doesn't really give much to the game. I kind of find it useless, but if you want a better experience, there's always the 4 prequel comics that to me at least have a better story than the game. Like, actually, you should check these out. And yeah, that's Sonic Forces. I do get the hate it gets from people, but honestly, I can't help but say, but I adore this game. Even with its flaws, even with its inconsistencies, its extremely basic level design, its dialogue that sounds like it was written by a 12-year-old, every time I pick up this game, I struggle to put it down. You can honestly tell this was a case of just not having enough time to make something great. Bad translations, and just general lack of direction due to not having enough time. Like, actually, I feel if this game had maybe, like, 1 or 2 more years to cook, it could have been another great Sonic game. And even fans noticed that. And after that first playthrough, it's generally a blast to aim for high scores and levels. The game is great to just pop in and turn off your brain to. Maybe it's just bias. Maybe it's because it takes me back to that amazing day of Christmas 2017 and puts a warm feeling in my heart. But I think we shouldn't be remembering this as a pile of garbage. It should be remembered as a pile of garbage that you can find a bit of treasure in from time to time. So yeah, I like this game, and I bet many people do too. I think if you give it a few more years, it won't be remembered as a work of art or anything, but it'll probably be looked back on a bit more fondly. And if not, oh well, it's just my silly little opinion at the end of the day.
Ever so precious, a vision shared.